As writers at Marvel continue to get more and more experimental with worlds they create, we benefit by having the pleasure of seeing some very weird and hilarious alternate universes. So here are the top 10 alternate universes to come out of the Marvel Multiverse. At number 10 is the Punch Dimension. This probably wins the award for the most uncomfortable and painful universe on this list, unless you're Cyclops, in which case it's actually probably the most useful, but still pretty painful, I'd imagine. In fact, the Punch Dimension is where Cyclops gets all of his power from, because instead of him actually generating all his power from within, his eyes are actually known to be doorways to this dimension, which he can summon kinetic energy out of on command. But if anyone else were to travel there, they'd probably die immediately. Honestly, Cyclops probably would too. To think that there's just a dimension out there that consists of pure concentrated kinetic energy and nothing else is definitely bizarre, if not terrifying. At number 9 is Marvel Noir. On Earth 90214, all of the most popular heroes get their own retellings through the lens of the 1920s and 1930s era. And although I think this is a really cool idea, some of the characters that get their own noir makeovers just come off as a bit bizarre. A few of them give me that uncanny feeling where I can't tell whether the steampunk aesthetic is really cool for them or just doesn't work as smoothly as others, like the noir Iron Man or the pirate portrayal of Namor. But overall, we do end up with Spider-Man Noir, who has become a well-known alternate version of the hero, especially after being voiced by Nicolas Cage in the Into the Spider-Verse animated film. Don't get me wrong, I actually think this universe is really cool, but it's also very weird, hence why it's made it onto this list. At number 8, we have the Pocket Universe. This one is definitely a bizarre concept that really puts things into perspective on and off the page. Franklin Richards, son of Reed Richards and the Invisible Woman, has some really powerful abilities, and in one instance in particular, he shows what he's capable of in a really impressive way. The young boy harnesses the dimensions of space, time, and reality to develop his very own universe, which he creates to be small enough to fit in his own pocket, hence the name. And although we don't see everything that goes on inside this fabricated pocket universe, we can assume that no matter what, it's gotta be a weird existence. Especially when a ball of lint in the boy's pocket is probably the size of thousands of solar systems put together. At number 7 is Marvel 1602. This is a fun one, but it's definitely quite bizarre at the same time. It might be pretty obvious by the name, but basically, this universe tells the stories of the heroes and villains we know today as if they lived in the 1600s. With Count Otto von Doom ruling a medieval Latveria, heroes like Matthew Murdoch, a blind mercenary for hire, and Peter Parquois, an orphan recruited by Sir Nicholas Fury, have to put a stop to him. Another bizarre thing about this world is that mutants aren't seen as superheroes and aren't part of a team called the X-Men, but are instead known as witch breeds, and they are hunted down systematically by anyone who will dare challenge them. It's definitely a fun world to explore, but it sort of gives me the creeps as well. At number 6, we have the Zombieverse. This is one I'm sure many of you are familiar with, as it's become pretty popular over the years. Basically, Earth 2149 is overrun by zombies, and they don't stop short of turning superheroes to the ghoulish side as well as humans. What we end up with is a whole universe with superpowered zombies jumping and flying around, trying to destroy everything in their paths, including their former teammates and lifelong friends. It's a strange place that puts into question the integrity of superpowered beings and sort of tarnishes the dignity of all our favorite heroes all at once. But it's all in good fun in the end, and we get an exciting, gory, and very weird read as a result. At number 5 is the Amalgam Universe. This is a strange one because it outlines the event of a what-if scenario where Marvel and DC characters are mashed into hybrids. In Marvel vs. DC number 3, characters from Marvel's Earth 616 and DC's New Earth morph together, leaving us with some pretty cool but ultimately just flat out weird characters, like a Superman Captain America mashup and Iron Man getting a power ring turning him into Iron Lantern. And of course, with these newly powered up Amalgam heroes, there also has to be a mashup version of the two different worlds' villains too, right? So we get Thanoside, a very cleverly named mashup of Darkseid and Thanos. What makes this universe so weird is that it's a very rare example of the two comic book companies coming together in unison. And the resulting contents are just as bizarre as this rare partnership is. So there you have it. the weird world of the Amalgam Universe at number 5. And at number 4 is Weirdworld. I feel like there's no need to explain why this one ended up on the list given the title. But weirdly enough, Weirdworld isn't actually that weird, all things considered. Weird enough to make it on this list, but I still feel like they had an opportunity to make a world so weird that they clinched the number 1 spot on this list. But still, it's a weird one. I am tired of saying that word. It's a Marvel universe that features magical creatures like goblins, dragons, and zombies. And there are just perpetual battles going on there between gods representing dark and light. It's hard to tell how it ties in with Marvel superheroes, so in the context of the Marvel Multiverse, it's definitely weird and a bit out of place, but it also just seems like a typical medieval fantasy landscape to me. It's almost weirder that this world doesn't really match its name, but I guess weird is weird. At number 3 is the Marvel Apes universe. Featured in the Marvel Apes miniseries, this alternate universe naturally features ape people versions of all the heroes we know and love, and everybody else for that matter. Basically, apes roam the earth, and even the Avengers have changed their name to suit the environment, being widely known as the Ape-Vengers. But if you think that's weird, it gets even more bizarre when we learn that Captain America is secretly a vampire who drinks the blood of his enemies. And then eventually it's further revealed that it was never Captain America in the first place, but a Nazi vampire who shapeshifted into Cap years ago after drinking his blood. I honestly don't know what the writers were thinking with this one, but at least it was able to rank high on this list. That's one thing it's got going for itself. At number 2 is the universe where Aunt May is bitten by the radioactive spider. In a short feature story of What If issue 23, we see what it would be like if Aunt May were to take up the mantle of Spider-Man with web-slinging powers and all. And the result is something so bizarre that I've already covered this universe on at least 3 other lists so far. It just stands out. And not necessarily for the right reasons, always. I think they sort of lose me when Aunt May starts using the dough from a bread loaf she's baking as a weapon, but this is one of the best examples of the fun that writers can have with the concept of a multiverse, where basically anything goes as long as it's set in another universe, which is kind of a blessing and a curse for Marvel all at the same time. At least Spider-May is paired up against Leapfrog, because if she successfully took down any truly reputable villain with her dough lasso, I think I'd have lost a decent chunk of respect for Marvel, if I'm being completely honest. At number 1 is the Larvel Earth universe. In this world, all the Marvel heroes and villains alike have evolved into cute and cuddly animals, with characters like Daredevil, Nick Fury, and the Agents of Sheep. There's no wonder why this universe exists as a one-off, although it may have been just weird enough that it went full circle and became kind of iconic. I mean, the ironically popular Spider-Ham, aka Peter Porker, also comes out of this alternate universe, so there's that. Larvel Earth is probably the weirdest universe to actually be considered part of the official Marvel canon, and with villains like Kangaroo the Conqueror, Sand Manatee, and Magsquito, readers are left wondering whether or not this whole multiverse concept is going too far. But personally, I think the odd, fun, and weird universe never hurt nobody. I mean, who could be mad at Black Panda? I mean, that's not much of a stretch considering he's normally named after an animal, right? Alright, that was the list for today. Thank you for watching, and as always, comment below and let me know if I missed any weird alternate universes from the multiverse. I'll do my best to answer you. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I've been your host, Ben Ball. You know the rest. The kiddies.